At Kroger, no matter where you order free pickup, you get the same great deals as you'd get in-store. So you can save when you order during band practice, or at the dog park, or wherever. Start your cart with the Kroger app and save from wherever today. Kroger, fresh for everyone. $35 order minimum. Restrictions may apply. Subject to availability.
Choose from a great selection of digital coupons and use them up to 5 times in one transaction. Check our app for details. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
You are listening to an entertainment program put together by a company called Financial Ineptitude. Anything said on this show is not an endorsement or professional advice. Would you really want to tell a court of law you were suing us because you thought taking financial advice from 2 idiots on a podcast put out by Financial Ineptitude was a good idea? Really? Clown hat smiley face.
Well, hello and welcome, everyone. Welcome to the China Shop. You made it to another amazing, fabulous guest episode. I'm Shopkeeper Dan. With me, as always, is Kyle, creator of FinancialIneptitude.com. Kyle, how you doing this fine CPI day?
I'm just watching the markets bleed.
Bleed.
It is not looking good.
Hey, dropping for almost 4.5% in a day. That's just a Monday, right? That's just a Tuesday, right?
I mean, any more these days, it seems like it.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Enough jibber jabber. Who's the guest?
Jibber jabber. Oh, we are joined today by none other than the amazing, fabulous, fantastic Erik Smolinski from esInvests. How are you doing today, Erik?
What is going on, my guys? I am super stoked to be here in such esteemed company of wonderful, handsome traders like yourselves. Very, very thankful.
Now we know he's lying.
What? You guys sent me the script ahead of time. I was just reading it word for word.
Yeah. Let him read the script I wrote him. He's doing a fucking amazing job.
Okay. All right,
I thought it was going well. I was going to start adding words like phenomenon and superb.
Oh, you can come back anytime you want.
Yep. Tell me I'm pretty.
Well, I'm not going to lie to you, but...
But. It's always a but. Erik, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? What do you do?
For sure. So on a serious note, genuinely, thank you guys for having me. I listened to a few of your podcasts, and really the thing that I love about what you guys do is there's levity, there's reality in what you guys talk about. You guys, I guess, break the number one rule of online finance, which is talk about losing trades, because apparently everybody out there is rich because
I know.
It's only me. But I am a trader, mostly in derivatives, so I trade primarily options. Mm-hmm. I got started investing when I was in high school. I was in 9th grade, and I came from a single mom. She worked 2 jobs to try to make everything happen, and I started working as soon as I possibly could to try and add value to the family.
I also only had one mom. I just want to throw that out there.
Damn, only one? Well, you can get 2 or 3 these days, man. Let me tell you.
Well, I've had a few that came and went, but they didn't stick.
Gotcha. Yeah. But yeah, so I was just doing a lot of hustling. I was working a bunch of jobs, and I had a teacher that said, "Have you thought about investing?" And I was just like, you know what, man? As a matter of fact, I absolutely have not, because I have no idea what the fuck that is. And he essentially turned me onto something that legitimately changed my life. I have a natural obsessive personality. So I took what I could, threw it into this investing machine via a custodial account through my mother. And it's been extremely lucrative for me. I'm so thankful. And part of the reason why it's been lucrative is because when I started trading derivatives pretty heavily, I had an Army veteran essentially tell me, he was online. I never met him in person, but I was, sharing what I was doing in different online forums. And essentially he told me that everything I did fucking sucked and I was not going to be around very long. And I was just like, well, that's ultra encouraging. And so what do I need to do? And he was super helpful. He's the one that made me rethink my entire approach, everything I was doing. And that's how I got doing this kind of stuff, is trying to pay forward the time those 2 guys spent on me, because by all accounts, I should have been really a nobody. And because of the information they shared. It changed my life, legitimately.
And we're going to cover all that information here in the next hour.
Oh,
no, that's super interesting that you've had a similar experience, I think, that we've had, as far as most of the good traders that we've met all want to give back,
yes,
or help out, or they expect nothing in return. They genuinely want to see everyone else succeed.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that is such an important component to this because, again, like in the little world that I grew up, I went through a metal detector every day going into school. It was like that kind of place. And nobody was investing. You know what I mean? Like that's
right.
That maybe investing in like a shank, but
lottery tickets.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, because of some information that somebody shared with me, it was super impactful. So it's actually really awesome to see other people like you guys and other folks that are trying to pay forward just the kindness of the broader community, because it really can change somebody's life if they catch a certain little piece and it connects with them and off they go to the races.
So how long was that? How long did you spend spinning your wheels? How long did you spend after you hooked up with this mentor? And I think I saw you had two actually that you mentioned on your YouTube channel.
Yeah. So the first mentor, I call him my stepdad. There's no relationship between him and my mother, but that's just kind of the role he's assumed in my life. He's like actually just become a lifelong mentor. And he's the one that got me to even know about investing. And the funny thing is he just passively invests. He doesn't trade. And like everybody else that starts trading, especially at a young age, we are known for our prudence and patience, right? We're all
right.
Exactly. So with that, I took my, $3,000 and I was like, well, I guess I need to start planning what I'm going to spend my millions on at the end of this year because I'm essentially already rich. And that is really the mindset that I started with, was this busted ass get rich quick mindset that we all know how that goes. My favorite saying is, trying to get rich quick is the surest way to get rich slow. And I think about that a lot. So that first mentor got me started investing, and then I kind of went down the rabbit hole, got started trading. So between that time frame, I probably started investing buy and hold for probably 8 months before I ran out of money. Essentially, I was doing well, but all the money was just committed to a couple stocks it was pure dumb blind luck. But I bought a couple companies. I'm not sure if you've heard of them. One of them is Apple. Another one is Netflix. There was one called Amazon. And they started obviously to return really well. And I was like, well, I'm a genius, so I should just do this faster.
And just put more in.
Exactly. Clearly. And that's actually when I got introduced to every trader's best friend, binary options. And I was like, this is where the real money is, obviously. And that's when I realized that is where the real money obviously is not, because I was losing money hand over fist there. And that's when I started like actually trading, though, was via binary options, then options. And that was at about the 8-month mark is when I started trying to spread into that. And then it was really during my undergrad where I met that other mentor, the trading mentor that I referenced to you guys. And he's the one that made me rethink everything I was doing and actually like approach it seriously as compared to the haphazard, just flying by the seat of my pants approach, which it worked obviously okay for investing. It really did. But for trading, it was awful.
Yeah. There's something else that I think you mentioned on the intro on your YouTube channel about how nobody talks about how long it's going to take. And that was one of the things that really clicked when I was doing my research on you, was hearing somebody finally say that, because not many people do.
No. And it's, here's the issue I have, in the thing that I love about platforms like you guys is there are so many finance media personalities that sincerely, I think, seek to just take advantage of people's ignorance and sell them a lifestyle. And it drives me wild, which is exactly why I put stuff like that in my messaging, because I mean, I'm super fortunate. I did become a millionaire before I was 30. And to me, that was a good time. That was a really aggressive timeline, especially coming from where I did. But, you know, you have these people that are like, oh, well, you know, I make 50,000 every other week. And it's like, well, shit, bro, sign me up.
How much you'll lose on the other week. So.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, seeing stuff like that is super frustrating. So much like you guys, I really do try to share practical information, but keep it based in reality. Like, because giving people false expectations literally just sets them up for failure. They're preying on people's ignorance, and I think that's fucked up.
Yeah. The expectations that you set for somebody who's could otherwise be successful if you gave them realistic timeline of like what it's going to take and how much effort. You just get bombarded by these messages on Twitter and FinTwit and Reddit of all these YOLO millionaires, and it just makes you want to just abandon all risk management and go crazy.
I wish I could say that I never thought of that myself, but you're absolutely right. There have been periods of time where I saw what seemed to be legitimate people that were just knocking it out of the park, and I did sincerely consider trying it. 'Cause it's like, well, you know, why wouldn't I? But you're absolutely right. You just get such a skewed part of the message.
Those big wins really screw you up too, because they also mess up your expectations. I'm curious if anybody's ever put together some stats to see somebody who hits like a massive like win on a trade, like how much do they give back trying to chase that return again?
Ooh, that's a fascinating thing. I'm kind of I treat trading as a business, so it means that I don't allow myself to like gamble. I really don't allow myself to feel joy or sadness when I approach it. But I am a giant nerd when it comes to the markets, and I read white papers all the time. And I was just reading one. Well, this shows you what kind of life I live. It was like 9:30 last night, and I was reading a white paper on Kelly Criterion for betting strategies as it pertains to the markets. And it's funny because I actually don't know if I've ever seen anything that talks about like somebody definitively who hit a big win and how much they gave back doing it. Obviously, most of what I do is very stats heavy because of my undergrad and my grad. So I do a lot of expectancy. Like the concept of probability of profit, just it makes me want to choke people out, because it's like the same thing as this selling a certain lifestyle, right? Like you could tell somebody, how would you feel if you won 92% of trades? And you're like, well, shit, that sounds awesome. It sounds like if I win 92% of trades, I can't lose money, right? Because I'm winning so much. So this is sick. And meanwhile,
is that guy's name Roger Corey?
What's that?
Did you speak to Roger Corey by any chance?
No, I have no idea who that is.
Okay, never mind.
Is Roger Corey somebody I should speak to?
No. Not unless you want to talk more about 92% win rates. And
yeah, he came on our show and pitched like, if you buy his stuff, he'll teach you how to win 80 to 90% of the time.
Stop it.
Measuring a demand. He measures demand somehow. Economic news, geopolitics.
Oh, is that like episode available?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's still up.
Dude, I've got to listen to that. I am.
We him and hawed between the two of us over whether or not we would actually release that. And I think the decision to release it was made after both of us, I thought, were skeptical enough, and people who listened to us would recognize that we weren't just blindly buying into this guy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's people like him that I want to choke the fuck out, because that stuff drives me wild, because it's the same thing. It's just preying on people's ignorance.
Yes.
People think high win rate means I make money. Obviously, that sounds great. And then you talk to those people and you're like, yeah, okay, you know, your average win is $15 and your average loss is $900. Like, sure, you have a high win rate, but you're negatively expectant, bro. You're going to lose money.
Yep. But it's like the martingale strategy where you just keep buying back in, and moving your stops. It works until it doesn't.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I was looking for Kelly Criterion, because I'm going to make a video on using Kelly Criterion for, you know, sizing, and it works, and we know it works. But the tricky part is most people don't have the stomach for the volatility that comes with it and the drawdowns and whatnot.
Right.
So people have been for a long time exploring different ways you can modify, which would tailor your overall returns, but it would also pull in some of the volatility so it's more palatable to people. But yeah, that's another thing I was looking at doing a video on pretty soon, because I think it's fascinating. Because I also think that that's something I did early on, which was I sized trades based on how I was feeling, apparently, which was random and very difficult to, build a profitable system based on how you feel that day.
Right. We actually got introduced to Kelly Criterion. I just shared you the video for you if you hadn't seen it yet. When we started our Back to the Futures series with Flary, the first episode, I think we spent a bit of time talking about that. That was, I think, one of the biggest things that helped me progress as a trader was understanding that concept.
Yeah. And the thing is even if somebody isn't totally bought into, the overall word for word deployment of it, the concept, even as it pertains to just probabilistic outcomes in life, is super, super useful. Because another thing people talk about with this probability of profit, I wouldn't call it bullshit, because it's true. Like there's accuracy to it, but the overall guise behind it is kind of BS. But the thing about those kind of strategies is number of occurrences, right? And people don't realize how many occurrences need to happen before the returns should start to approximate. So you can have a high probability strategy. This is what happens to a lot of people, I think, at least. They deploy a high probability strategy for X period of time, and it's working because it's a high probability strategy. But over time, it's going to assume the expectancy in terms of returns. So you size up during that time frame because it's working, and then all of a sudden it doesn't work. And then you're like, sick, there goes my portfolio. This is an awesome magic trick that I would like to undo. But the market doesn't.
There's nothing worse than wiping out like 3 or 4 weeks worth of gains with one bad decision.
Yeah.
I did that exact thing when I was in college. That exact thing. I talk a bit about the Dunning-Kruger Effect because I think that also plays a part. Are you guys familiar with that?
I don't think I'm familiar with that one, but I'll make sure we link that in the episode description.
In short, it's just when you're going through the learning curve and you reach a very, very dangerous point. It's where you know enough to be dangerous, but you still don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. Yes.
We've all experienced it.
Yes. Whether we know it or not.
Exactly. And that's exactly what happened to me, because I was trading options for a few years at that point. And I was like, oh, well, I have this super high probability of profit iron condor in the Russell. What could go wrong? Let me size this up so that I can make, it wasn't that much money in terms of the account is like a $600 trade. But the risk I took to make $600 trade, like I wanted to invent a time machine so I could go back and slap myself in the face. But I haven't figured that out yet. And sure as shit, man, I put on this high probability trade to make that good old $600. And then I went to the gym the next day and I opened up my account and I literally was just like, where the fuck is my portfolio right now? And the trade consumed, it was the largest percent of my portfolio drawdown that I've ever had. And it was for $600. Like,
wow.
Oh, so frustrating. I'm thankful it didn't blow me up, but that is what made me do like a full stop on everything. And like, it's when I truly acknowledge the fact that, yeah, I knew a few things about derivatives, but I clearly still had a lot left to go. And my favorite part of that story is the trade would have landed right in the middle. It would have been a profitable trade, but I had no plan. I got scared. I saw a huge percent decline on the account, just exited to stop the bleeding, and sure as shit. And I deserved it. That was good for me because I'm an idiot and I deserve the pain.
Well, what would have happened if it didn't go back?
Oh, you know what would have happened, man. I would have just mortgaged everything and I would have gone bigger. And
I'll rebuy a car when I'm rich. Get it gone.
Exactly. Well, I mean, they're sitting there trying to keep me in college. I'll buy the college, man. Like, this next Iron Condor is about to turn some numbers. That's exactly what would have happened.
So it sounds like you kind of followed a similar journey to us, where it took us quite a while to realize what risk management was and why it was important.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I really respect Warren Buffett, but that's one of the things I was always so fascinated that he always said, like rule number one is make money or don't lose money. I actually, hold on. Let me slow down here before I bastardize Warren Buffett's saying.
I don't think he cares.
Well, I don't know, man. He's like 90.
I think the phrase you're looking for is Warren Buffett famously said, "Bling bling, bitches."
That's it. How'd you know the quote off the top of your head? So
I was there at that speech. The conference was amazing.
So yeah, he says rule number one, never lose money. And rule number two, don't forget rule number one. Anyways, the thing, I didn't understand what that meant. I thought that he was saying make money.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I realized though, just as you guys rightly point out, like risk management number one, because if you don't have money, you can't make money. So you got to protect the working capital that you have. So yeah, man, it took me a hot minute to come across that. Plus, you caught the SKI, the ski at the end of Smolinski. So I'm Polish. I'm naturally thick-skulled. I've had like 7 or 8 concussions. So yeah, man, things come slow over here.
I was going to work in a meathead joke if you were familiar with All in the Family, but I wasn't sure if that reference is too old.
I am familiar with All in the Family, but yeah, I think the meathead or just the concussions is a good one because, I mean, I identify with Archer, man. Like every once in a while, my ear just start ringing. And
wop, wop.
Yeah. I identify with that guy.
I freaking love Archer. Okay, so another question. So it took you a similar amount of time, it sounds like, to figure out risk management like we did. What about the psychology aspect of trading? Like, did you have any idea how much you'd be looking at yourself and trying to understand your own psychology when you first started your journey trading?
Absolutely not. Honestly, no. I thought that I would be able... I was so naive that I didn't even have like a trade log because I was like, oh, I'll remember what I did.
I know we didn't have one. I didn't have one when I started either.
What's a trade log?
Yeah, exactly. That's for people who aren't making fat stacks on these iron condors. Right. That's who.
I don't got time for that shit.
Right.
The broker keeps track of it. I'll just look it up if I want to see.
I'm too busy making money. I can't be putting stuff in an Excel sheet.
I'm not a nerd.
Yeah, it's so true. Like I didn't really think much about it. And it's funny because the trading mentor I had, he didn't talk too much about it himself, but he also was a very rules-based trader. He always gave himself left and right lateral limits. So he had room to move within his rule set, but he had everything defined so well for himself that he had, by the time I met him, he already highly successfully decreased the amount of variable input that him as the trader is putting into his systems.
Right.
So I think I kind of just naturally picked some of that up. And it wasn't until I started actively trading, like day trading and scalping, that I came across the psychology side of things and started to understand when I implemented the trading plan, I had like a little section for whatever my hypothesis was and what it was based on. And I started auditing those kinds of things, realizing that I was about as inconsistent as anything could possibly get. And that's when I realized how much of a variable that I was as a human being. And that's when I started taking trading psychology way more seriously because of that exercise of like reviewing my notes and realizing that things didn't line up as I would have expected with my perfect memory, obviously, because I didn't need that trading plan or the trading log in the first place.
Right. Oh, man. Yeah. And that realization when you finally realize that it's you that you're fighting, not the markets, nothing else. Like you are your own worst enemy when it comes to trying to actively trade.
Dude, I love that you said that so much because, you know how it is on like the online forums, you go to Reddit, you go to Facebook. Oh, fuck payment for order flow, screw the market makers. Oh my God, high frequency trading's out to get me.
It's rigged. It's rigged.
Yeah, man. And it's like, listen, dude, just so you know, like none of them even know you exist. They don't care about you. So not only are they not actively out trying to get you, they don't know you're there. So it's like, I think understanding that it really is a solo endeavor and like we are completely in control of our own destiny, the sooner we get around to accepting that fact the sooner we can actually act and make a change so that you can maybe have a good outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
I'm so glad you mentioned the market is rigged thing. Because I don't know if you follow Horse Lover Fat on Twitter, but he had a great quote over the weekend, I think it was. Bad trader says the market is rigged. Good trader says, if you believe that to be true, how are you positioning to take advantage of that?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. If it's rigged, that means it should be predictable.
Exactly.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, dude. That's actually like really, really awesome. I didn't catch that, but I love that.
Yeah, there's some good gems on Twitter if you follow the right people.
I found it. I wasn't on. So I made a Twitter a long time ago. I think because I had a couple of friends who were starting on it because they were into like tech real heavy in college. Mm-hmm. And I made one, but I didn't like it. So I didn't bother with it. And in the past year, I got active on Twitter again. And I actually genuinely like it. I've learned that as long as you avoid the fucking clickbait, which is real alluring,
so many puppies.
As you do that, your feed is done. You got to just start all over, torch it. There was like one sensational article that, man, I was like, oh, they got me so good. I clicked it. And as it was opening, I was just like, there it all goes. There goes all of the information I've curated for myself from all these awesome sources. I am now relegated to this piece of crap news, and here's my new life.
Here's the conspiracy theories. Here they come.
But you're right. I think Twitter actually has a lot of like really, really great information. It's just, as always, just surrounding yourself with the right people.
Yeah, I would highly suggest following anybody who's honest about it. If people are only posting gains, like maybe you don't want to be following them unless they're actually sharing their thought process behind the trades they do make.
Yeah,
right.
Well, and that's another thing that I never really understood is the traders that seem to, try to sign up for like an alert service or something.
Yeah, signals. Yep.
Yeah, I was so ignorant to that entire world, and then I realized that there are just these giant communities centered around that, and I just think like, what do these people genuinely think is going to happen here?
Well, my guess would be, just thinking about the psychology of it, is that it takes you out of the equation. If you're following somebody else's alert, then it's not your fault if it doesn't work.
Super fair. Protecting the ego. Because you're absolutely right. I think the ego is completely overbearing in a lot of what we do. And that's a great point. Mm-hmm. That's a really great point. The thing that my mentor always used to tell me, though, is nobody's going to care about your money more than you.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And that's, as you were saying that, though, that's the first thing that came into my mind. But I can totally see the perspective you shared.
Well, that's why I never got into it either. Like, yeah, you can tell me that this is a good thing or something I should look at, but what are you seeing? Let me look at it and then compare it to what you're seeing and see if we're on the same page.
Right.
Like, I want to learn how to trade. I don't want someone to just tell me how to trade.
Well, and that's like the name of the game, because it's, what does that person set themselves up for long term? Now you need to suckle on somebody else's trades in order to survive.
And I don't know if we've had this realization recently that the strategy doesn't really matter all that much. Good risk management principles and your ability to follow your own rules are like the two main keys that will drive your success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's accurate. And I think, so for me, I've been trading for 15 years now. Mm-hmm. And I've noticed that as soon as I started selecting, I targeted 15% per year, essentially for the past 12 years. Mm-hmm. And I've luckily been able to outpace that. I think right now for the past full 14 trading years, I have like a 22% CAGR.
Nice. Which
I think is really good. I'm happy with that, but I'm also under no illusion that there are people who can blow that out of the water. Like I've had some people on the YouTube channel like Matt Caruso, mm-hmm. and he was in the U.S. Investing Championship, which is a great program. That's an audited. Those people are the real deal, and he had like a 300% return over the course of a year. It's like,
wow,
yeah, dude, yeah. You start to realize that some of these guys are like real good at this, but. Mm-hmm. I found that focusing on consistent deployment that I could, again, consistently hit year over year was very impactful. And that is how I chose to inherently build in risk management. Because if I'm not going for a 50% year, that already inherently decreases the overall risk profile.
Right.
Then in addition to how I structure the portfolio and the strategies to serve that purpose.
Well, and if you ever want to go and try to push those returns, 22% is fine. That's more than enough to live off of. And if you ever want more, you can always just start increasing your size as your bankroll increases.
Absolutely. And the thing for me is I recognized that at the current pace that I was at, I would be able to essentially achieve everything I wanted to by the end of my 20s. And when I say achieve everything that I wanted to, it just means in terms of financially. Like I was going to be able to help my mom. Like I, sent her money to pay for the house. To next year, I'm going to get her a car. You know what I mean? Like I can take care of her. And then I can still continue growing on my side while I spread into other things. I think that's one of the things that investors in general, they lose sight on is, this year, I just sold one of my rental properties and net profit was $260,000.
Nice.
And that's net profit. That's something I lived in that house for 5 years. I rented it for 2 years.
So you still kept the 3-year grace period or the 2 out of 5?
And that's exactly why I structured it that way. Because I didn't have to roll it into another property. I could take the money and move. So by opening up to other ways to invest, between that and trading, I was achieving the returns that I wanted.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think George, one of the first guys we ever talked to, he told us that like every trader eventually becomes an investor. It's like the natural progression.
Yeah. Well, and I also, even though I consider myself a trader, I still consider it investing overall, which, it's like, okay, Eric, like obviously concussion's acting up because you just contradicted yourself, but
no. That's not at all. It's like the poker players who don't like the professionals. They're not gambling.
Right.
They have a positive expectation.
Exactly. And I think the way that I view it is even though I trade actively, I still have an investing time horizon. Mm-hmm. And that's really the main objective, because I think one of the beautiful parts about trading is, unlike investing, when it comes time to start drawing, which I've recently started to do myself over the past 2 years, is using the account for partial or full income. Mm-hmm. Well, I can do that as a trader with lower principal amounts and still make what I want to make, as compared to an investor who essentially has to amortize out their account and they have to pull from it, sell whatever their securities are in order to take the money out. Mm-hmm. And via trading, I don't really have to do that. I can use specifically derivatives to continue growing the account while I actively pull on the account when I want.
It's almost a detriment to have too much in your account, right?
It can be. And definitely depending on the way that you trade, there's an opportunity cost and drag associated with just parking the capital there. So yeah, I think that is completely accurate.
Yeah, the more that's in there too, the more you may be tempted to put at risk if you're starting out.
Yeah, and I find the thing that I tell people that are first starting out is it's so important to understand that you inherently, and you being all of us, we have way more discipline problems than we even understand.
Yep.
And as soon as you start trading, you figure it out real fast, because you're like, oh, well, if it hits this level, I'm going to get out. And then it hits that level and you're like, well, maybe I'll just wait a little bit and see.
Right.
And yeah, dude. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, I just blew that account up sick.
Or when it gets back there, then I'll sell for real this time.
Obviously. Yeah. That's, you just got to wait.
Then it gets back up there and you're like, no, that's still looking good. Maybe I'll let this push a little bit more.
Dude,
and time, and then it's too late.
Yep, exactly. I think that's spot on, man.
I think we've all been through that.
Yeah.
I think, and it's a really important growth cycle, though, because one of my favorite things about trading is, as much as we want to blame other things, whether you do or don't doesn't matter. It doesn't change the fact that it's us, it's you. Mm-hmm. And as soon as you start to figure that out, as frustrating as it can be, it's actually also very empowering, because you come to realize, like, I can actually control how I go to market, and then I can learn the outcome on how I go to market, optimize that, and like legitimately control your own destiny.
Right.
But the only way you get there is by accepting the fact that you and you alone are in the driver's seat.
That's a good point. You don't always have to engage too. Since trading, you're your own boss. Like, you can pick the times that you put yourself or your capital at risk. If you're not feeling 100%, like, you don't have to trade that day. And that's, I think, something that people have a hard time wrapping their heads around too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually just did a post on Reddit about that exact thing. I feel like a lot of new traders, when we become infatuated with it, we think, okay, well, if I trade more, I'll learn more and make more.
Right.
And I, just like you, I sincerely do not think that that's the case. Ever since I do a YouTube live session every Monday, and I do it on purpose because part of that is for accountability, right? Like if I say something, then it's there, it's recorded, people saw it, and I can't just like renege, right? And say, oh, I didn't say that.
Delete.
Right. So literally like this entire year, towards the end of last year, around November, into this entire year, I have not been more than 25% invested. And I think at the height, it was like 15%. I think this last week, I just went over 20. But I've been so lightly invested for that exact reason you just highlighted, is that I am waiting to find good risk reward profiles that will allow me to achieve my objectives. It's not a function of I need to touch the market every single day, because you don't.
Dan, I've been driving this. What do you got for him?
I was just saying, I wish it hadn't taken me so long to figure that out personally.
Which part?
That I don't have to always be engaged in the market.
It's tough because I still feel like that too. Like even if I cut a day early, like I feel guilty, like I should be working.
Yeah.
Interesting. What time frames do you guys normally trade?
I am mostly futures, so like 5 to 15 minutes.
Damn. A lot of work right there.
And the longer this has gone on, the fewer and fewer trades I actually do take. It's mostly like a fighter pilot where you're just staring at charts for an hour trying to find the entry that looks good.
Well, more power to you, man, because I get bored and I would rather go to the gym or go surf.
Right.
So my attention span runs out and I bounce. I actually found, like I still do day trade, but the vast majority of my trading is probably 7 to 50 days out, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I like the 30 to 45 when I'm doing swings on equities.
Yeah, and depending on how you structure, your swings, it can be a really advantageous time frame based on, the product and what you're deploying. But I find the increased time frame is actually really useful for many reasons. One of which is I found that I am more profitable by spreading out across different time frames because I'm not forcing an opportunity that doesn't exist.
Okay.
Like, and I'm obviously not suggesting you do this, but I found personally that when I was trying to retail trader scalp, and I say retail trader scalp because we bastardized that term. When we trade, in and out in 30 seconds, like that's still not a scalp, but fine, retail traders, we can call it a scalp. And when I would do that, I would try to force things because now my profit depended on my interacting with the market on a daily basis. But as soon as I started widening out some of the time frames so that I had trades working across different time cycles, it relieved essentially all of that pressure. And now I just look and I say, do I see an opportunity here? If yes, great, I'll trade it. If not, I don't care because I still have capital working that's going to be coming in 4 days and then some more trades in 2 weeks and, so on and so forth.
Right. Oh, that's interesting.
I found that to be super, super useful.
Just basically taking you away from being glued to the markets. And yeah, the more you stare at something, the easier it is to justify something.
Of course. Yeah. You start to like prove your own hypothesis.
Right.
And I think another thing traders fall into really frequently is most people trade so that they can create financial freedom and then essentially live their life however they want. But I think for a lot of people, it just becomes another 9-to-5 job. Instead of, going and working for an employer 9 to 5, now somebody's strapped to the screen 9 to 5. It's like, is that better for you? And if yes, then great. Then
oh, I love it.
Yeah, which is perfect because there are a lot of people, and I know quite a few of them who like I truly enjoy following the markets. Like when I was in Curacao for a couple weeks last month, and in between, like I would go diving, and then I would come back, grab some food, and then I was like, oh, let me see what's going on in the markets, and like I would do that because I also genuinely enjoy it. But I'm always careful to make sure that it's not getting to the point where, at least for me, trading was always a means to an end. And I do not trade, like I said, for entertainment. I trade to make money, and then I use the money for whatever I want. But the cool part with the markets is you could do stuff like this, right? Like talk with cool dudes like you about trading. It's entertaining, and you're still talking about shit that you like. Because if I did this with my wife, she'd throw something at me, be like, dude, shut up.
Yeah.
That's why we started our Discord.
Super smart. Very, very smart.
Don't bother your wife, bother us.
Bother us, yeah.
I love that. That's like the perfect sales pitch for a trading community.
I know, right? No, that should be our next tweet.
Patent pending.
Get the wife on that.
I mean, I think you guys have rights to that. It's in use now. That's your guys'
That's
moniker.
ours.
Yeah.
Okay, before it gets too long, I have to ask you, you know Anthony Fatsies?
No.
Oh, okay. He follows you on Twitter. I thought maybe you guys collaborated and I missed it.
Who dat?
Australian, living in the UK, hosts What the Finance.
Oh, what the? Yeah. For whatever reason, his last name didn't jive with me. But yeah, I just did a podcast with him probably 2 weeks ago, maybe. He actually suggested you guys.
Oh, has it come out yet?
No, I don't think so. Actually, this all just connected a bunch of shit. I'm supposed to ruffle feathers here and say somebody was supposed to be talking shit about somebody. So I think if you guys just artificially get mad at him, then I've done my job.
Oh, are we supposed to, is he trying to start beef?
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
Maybe I'm just starting beef, but I'm here for it.
That sneaky Australian bastard.
Yes, perfect.
Tommy fucker.
And the tricky part about him being a sneaky Australian bastard is he's in like Europe right now. So he's even playing mind games.
That's even sneakier. He's trying to blend in with the UK.
Yeah. What's he doing there? What's he gaining there? We don't know. It could be anything.
Squatting is what he's doing.
The Queen did just die. I'm just connecting dots.
I mean, that's a causal relationship right there if I've ever seen one.
Too many Australians caused the Queen's death.
She couldn't take the pressure of it constantly being called the hard C.
Oh boy! Before I turn this into a military conversation, do you have anything else you want to ask? Well, we got a good a potential new mentor here.
Wow, nothing springs to mind. I mean, biggest
lessons learned, anything like favorite setups?
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Eric, what are your favorite setups and what's your trading time frame?
I just really like that you thought of that question completely on your own. So.
Yeah, I'm a big boy here in the shop. I do all the big boy thinking.
Dan's the color commentator.
As far as setups, I have become like every trade. I'm like legitimately agnostic. I have a toolkit of strategies. So primary strategies I run are covered strangles, ratio diagonals, and then volatility plays, things like short straddles primarily. Mm-hmm. And then I do have a smaller toolkit for futures directly, but the short answer to your question is I just kind of look at the market and see what makes sense. And I split my portfolio into two allocations. It's all one portfolio, all the money's together, but I allocate it in two different segments. I have a core allocation and a speculative allocation. The core allocation is designed to get me that goal that I shared with you guys previously, which is at least 15% per year. I've actually revised that down. Now I'm looking for 12% per year to just decrease overall volatility. I don't really need the 15% at this point, and I'm going to continue scaling that back for the core. Mm-hmm. And then the speculative allocation is for days like today. I saw the CPI come out. I knew that the market was going to have a conniption. Okay, let me rephrase that. I thought the market was going to have a conniption. Right. And I bought VIX futures. And I've been scaling out of those over the course of the day. And I still have just a little bit left on right now. But like for me, that's a speculative trade. So if I see something, and I think that's a really important part of trading actually, is pattern recognition. That's like clearly attached to successful traders that are able to identify patterns that they've seen before. And this fits essentially a playbook on a very emotional market, in my opinion. So I trade the speculative sparingly. I let the trades run more and I cut risk quicker. Mm-hmm. So on the speculative side, I still have overall positive expectancy, but I will have a lower win rate, but a higher average win.
What is your win rate, if you don't mind me asking? Typically,
I can tell you right now. I have to pull up my trade log that I actually use now. It's a very strange concept. So in the speculative allocation, it's 42%.
That is right where it should be. It's
Yeah.
the people we've talked to.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So it's, a little less than 50-50. So if I keep flipping coins, I'm not good at that apparently, but I'll bet the right way is so far been the case.
Yeah. Risk reward, right?
Exactly. I base my strategies on expectancy. The way that I view it is, as long as the strategy is positively expectant, it has a place in the portfolio, provided I can find the right market condition to deploy that strategy in. As soon as the strategy is negatively expectant for me over a given time frame, that's when I full pause, pull that strategy down. It's not allowed to go out until I understand the issue in the current market that strategy is having. I don't have that too much anymore because I have like such a small toolkit now. Like I said, I pretty much run 6 strategies more often than not. So I have them dialed in pretty carefully for the right market conditions. And then on the core side, that's based more so on percent off of highs and then volatility levels, whether I'm trading IWM or VIX. I primarily will trade index ETFs, sector ETFs, blue chip stocks on the core side. Again, just because I'm not looking for any sort of big home run that is just a consistent cycle. Main edge is derived from applying the correct strategy to the corresponding markets. For example, if I see I have different pricing models, I started calculating my own implied volatility surfaces, which I didn't fully understand the amount of effort that goes into that, but it's super fun. Anyways, I use those strategies.
Do you have any trouble sleeping at night, holding positions overnight?
Absolutely not, dude. Most of my stuff is held overnight. Like VIX, I'll hold VIX overnight tonight if I have to. It doesn't matter to me at all.
Well, at this point, the trade is already profitable, right?
Right, but
whatever you have left is just going to be
the bitch of it is, especially because it's futures, like there is the potential for a emotional market to reverse yet again.
Right.
And it would have to move a lot in order to overwhelm the partials that I've already pulled down. But again, just acknowledging the realm of possibility that could happen. But yeah, no, overnight doesn't bother me at all. I always feel like if you have a hard time going to bed as a trader, it means that you're not managing risk appropriately, or it means that you need to go exercise a little bit.
Oh, exercise. Okay. I knew that I couldn't get away with not doing it for 40 years.
Yeah, I'm not trying to come out here shots fired.
No, actually, that's kind of brings up. I think yesterday I had a kind of a tougher day. I woke up, late to start with, so I ended up missing my morning walk, and I was blaming the feeling off on the weather. But I think now that I think about it, it's actually missing that walk. I think screwed me up more than anything else.
I think that's entirely possible because the other thing, I don't know if you follow Huberman Lab, but I literally love that dude. He's a scientist essentially, and he shares a ton of just human concepts that are really useful. And something like when you first wake up, getting some sort of physical exercise within the first 4 hours is super important, and getting 10 minutes of direct sunlight is super important. Because when we wake up, that's one of the primary dispersals of cortisol that we have, which is actually really useful just for hormonal regulation within the body. So I'm going to shut up now, though, and stop talking about stuff that I have no qualifications in. This is just regurgitating what I've heard from him.
That's all we do.
Welcome to the China shop, Eric.
There we go.
You figured out the formula. You cracked the code.
This is perfect.
What was the guy's name again?
Huberman.
Andrew D. Huberman?
It's Andrew Huberman. Yeah. The dude's awesome. He literally is awesome. I really like him. He's a neurobiologist. I think he's at Stanford or something. And yeah, he's a straight up homie. He's a really cool dude. There's another, it's like Dr. Rhonda Patrick. She's another favorite of mine. Both of them have shared a lot of really useful information with me because I found during COVID, I went through a bit of a depression cycle and I was just a piece of shit of a human being.
Yeah.
And did not like who I was. So I started trying all sorts of things, to try to figure out how to be less of a piece of shit. So I think I've succeeded at least in decreasing the shittiness scale. But
so what did you do that made you feel like less of a piece of a shit?
I stopped sleeping in. I started making sure that my workouts were honest. And by doing that, I got a heart rate monitor so that I couldn't bullshit to myself saying, oh, I feel tired. Like, no, homie, like your heart rate's still low. So guess what? Like, go work.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a lot of little things like that became like really useful for me. I was staying up late doing stupid stuff. Like I would play video games or just completely mind-numbing activities. And it's because part of it genuinely is because like the gym's closed and stuff. And that's a big part of my life is being physical. Mm-hmm. And I think when that artificially, and I say artificially got pulled from me because again, I was just being a poopy pants. All I needed to do was go get a kettlebell and start working out, right? Just do it at the house. But yeah, I started disallowing myself to be a victim is really what it came down to. I was being a lame victim, blaming COVID and the gyms being closed and yada, yada, yada. And I realized that I was just being just a little bitch and I needed to just keep myself accountable.
Oh man, I'm so glad that you mentioned the victim thing. And like that's the last part of the like there seems to be a celebration of victimhood in the United States these days. And to hear some like we forgot about the other part, like overcoming the adversity. Like that's the part we celebrate.
Yeah. Yep. People use their victim status as like credentials in an argument.
Yeah. It's like a badge of honor somehow now.
It's wild to me. The fact that we're not to like go too controversial or anything, but like the fact that we're like celebrating overweight models on like magazines and stuff. Sure. It doesn't, not everybody has to be taking diuretics and, looking completely unattainable to the average person, but to like celebrate unhealthiness is mind blowing. Like
it's the unhealthiness one. Yeah. There's a difference between being a little overweight
exactly. But now everybody is just permitted to feel however they want to feel, act however they want to act. And we're supposed to all be okay with that. And to me, it just comes down to where's the accountability? Like, where's the accountability? The fact is that if you are severely overweight, you are at increased rate of hypertension, diabetes, like all sorts of really bad things for your genuine health, despite, the self-image that you want to. So yeah, I that stuff, it's frustrating because it sets people up for failure, man.
And then honestly, to me, and I'm all for individuality, but I'm getting to the point these days where I wonder, like, how long can we have a single culture?
That's a great question. That really is a great question.
You look at some of the Asian cultures and you look to the East where they're very community centric. Yeah. Like that's really where why communism can work in China for as long as it works and they're not like rising up is because there's almost a sense of like, well, what am I doing what it takes for the community to be moving along forward? And I feel like we don't have any of that anymore. Everybody's circling the wagons into smaller communities, and there's no sense of we're all in this larger American culture together. All of us, every single one.
I don't think COVID helped that at all either.
COVID accelerated the deterioration of that fabric. It's, oh my God. So, we're glad to start our own little circle the wagons in the China shop where we're just talking trading.
Yeah, dude. I love how you brought that all together, but
back to trading. I know. Well done, Dan.
Yeah. I've only had a couple drinks. I'm still pretty sharp.
There you go.
I genuinely agree with that sentiment though, because I think even for the people in the finance world that are comfortable preying on new people to the space and taking advantage of them, right? Selling a bullshit service or whatever it is.
Yeah.
There's no social contract there. There's no sense of these are people in my community and the broader community and I should be taking care of them. Most of them are like, well, I can't make money on my own, so let me extract 14 nickels from this person so that I can go buy half of a coffee.
Right. And hey, buyer beware. It's on them for letting me scam them.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah, man. Frustrating. Super frustrating.
No.
All right. Before we wrap this up, I have to ask about your background. You were a Marine?
Yes. Yeah, I was a Marine officer. I was on active duty for a little over...
Officer?
Ooh.
Yeah, I was on active duty for a little over 6 years, and then I rolled over to the reserves, which is like the best kept secret of the Marine Corps.
So tell me the best sailor jokes you have, or the best Navy jokes.
They're really contextual driven, and most of them are just about the flamboyancy of the Navy. Really is what it comes down to.
You mean our bell bottoms and capes?
Oh, were you in the Navy?
Oh, yes.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So now this makes a lot more sense. Yeah. Well, I'm just glad, that you guys stay true to your name and you're a good seaman.
I am 100%.
The other thing I learned about the Navy that I love is how the term shipmate is like an actual, like, fuck you now. That's hilarious to me.
That's what's the other good one? Noted. I still bristle whenever everyone says that to me. Yeah, noted. Yeah. Oh, yeah, fuck you too. Meanwhile, the person at the checkout line is like, what in the hell just happened?
Yeah, what's going on with these guys? They sound so cordial, but they hate each other.
No, you don't have any good... I mean, I know the Navy likes to try to poke fun at the Marines with like the my ass rides and Navy equipment. And
yeah, I mean, y'all are fucking chauffeurs, so
there it is.
So much a joke on us.
Let me see if you know the answer to this. This is for Ryan. The last Marine we had on here, you didn't answer this the right way. What did it used to say on your paycheck when you're in the military?
Dog, we get electronic deposits. Nobody
paid you.
Oh, our sugar daddy department of the Navy. But this is why it's good to have these conversations, because we have the men's department, which is the Marine Corps, and then we have the rest of the Navy over there on the other side. Yeah, man.
That'll make Ryan happy. I can end with one more joke. We can all make fun of the Air Force, right?
Well, that dude I was telling you about, my stepdad, he's a retired Air Force colonel.
My dad's Air Force too.
Yeah. So I used to crack some jokes about him, and then I realized, I was like, he's like in communications, man. Like he was in like Italy. He was in all these cool places. That's what they don't tell you about the Marine Corps, man. Is they're like, oh yeah, oorah, yut, kill, sick. And then they're like, yeah, bro, so it's time to pick your duty stations. You can go to bumfuck North Carolina, you can go to the desert, or you can go to Japan. You're like, wait a minute. What about this? Travel the world, see the world. They're like, oh yeah, dude, you can see the world. We're just going to send you to Afghanistan. That's part of the world, right?
We're going to stick you in Okinawa and say, have fun for the next 2 years.
We didn't say the whole world.
Just this part of the world.
Just this one part.
Yeah, I used to crack some jokes on him, and then I started hearing stories about like just what his work was like, when he was an XO and stuff, and then I just immediately shut the fuck up, because I was like, this dude outworked me and then some. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah, that really blew my mind. And the other thing that he always rubbed in my face, he's like, it's not my fault that we're smart and we pick to live a nice life while we can. He's like,
right.
Because we were talking about like umbrellas, like the Air Force could use umbrellas. And I think like the Marines, we can't use anything.
Umbrellas? Who had an umbrella in the military?
Yeah, I don't remember I don't know if they can or can't, but we were talking about umbrellas, and he was just like, well, that's the kind of thing that the Air Force would say okay to. And I was just like, yeah, because you guys are soft. And he's like, no, he's like, because you don't need to practice suffering. When it comes time to suffer, you just suffer. He's like, that's the thing you guys haven't figured out yet.
No, you need to be ready for it.
I know. And that's exactly what I said. I was like, oh, it's just because we're hard. And he was like, yeah, you guys are real hard. He's like, what's your enlisted turnover rate again? And I was just like, right. I get it. And he's like, yeah. He's like, last time I was on Camp Pendleton, you had them out there weed whacking and painting rocks. Shocker, they don't want to stay there. And I was like, all right, man, I didn't know we're going real here, digging at truth. Never mind.
Oh, my grandpa told me stories about when he was watching like the people in the brig. They'd take him out to a hillside, and I think it was in Okinawa where he's stationed, just having him out there cutting the grass with scissors.
At least they built him out. That's pretty good, man. I had to do
right.
I had a dude in the brig, and I was like, I'm pretty sure this is an insane asylum. Like, this is scary.
They still have the rule where if anyone escapes on your watch, you have to finish their sentence out.
I have never heard of that. That sounds,
Okay.
but that's the thing about the Navy, man. Y'all are always tripping on them ships. As soon as you get out there, that dude, the CO, he's like the mayor and president of everything.
Yeah.
I've learned that there's like passageways. Some people can go down, other people can't go down. It's like, we're all just trying to get around this damn boat, bro.
See, I was on a sub. We didn't have any of that bullshit.
I spent like a week on a nuclear sub during Quartermid. It was Springfield. It was the Springfield.
Okay.
And I remember that was one of my favorite experiences because I got to say that like I took a dump, over 1,000 feet below the water surface. That was my
that
fact.
dump is still there.
But that was actually really cool. That was one of my favorite things to look at because I found on the nuclear subs, dude, like everybody's super smart, like super smart. And that was really fun because, the Marines, man, God, I love them to death, but we are not the brightest bulbs in the box. And that's, it is what it is. But on the nuclear sub, dude, those guys were fucking smart.
Oh, well, thank you. Not that smart because we still enlisted and signed up to go voluntarily sink in a boat.
Oh, yeah. Give me the boat that sinks to the bottom, please.
I just figured it'd have less to go. Like we already got it over with. Don't ever have to worry about it sinking.
Right.
You're already
Don't have to
there.
worry about crushing pressure. Nice. I could see why you picked it.
I figured it would just be over fast if anything ever actually happened.
Yeah.
And they also paid you extra money too. Sub pay was nice.
There it is. See, that's
the main thing.
Yeah, let's talk about it. 'Cause that's what it is, man. You get a few extra dollars to be.
It's all about those extra pays.
And I mean, y'all had like crazy good food too, though. And I don't know what it is, but the other thing I
How
know.
long ago was this?
It was 2010.
Jeez, how bad was your food?
It was delicious. I loved it.
No, your Marine Corps
Me on the
food.
Marine Corps.
Food? Who got food there?
I remember loading boxes and they had stamps on them that said grade F rejected for penal use.
Yeah, dude. That's what I'm saying. We didn't get food. You just get calories. but on
Legit cardboard.
dude, on the sub, I was having a damn field day because they had like mid rats or whatever. And
Oh yeah, mid rats are always nice.
yeah, anytime you wanted a snack, you just go get it.
Yeah.
The Marine Corps, man, you just carry your food wherever you go, and it's shit.
Yeah.
But again, Marine Corps is pretty smart because it just made all of us pissed off. And as soon as you get around somebody, you're like, yeah, man, like I want to fucking kill you. I'm pretty angry right now.
Can't get the taste of stroganoff out of my mouth. Fuck that
He's
guy.
got a donut, and I'm fucking taking it from it.
Yeah, man, like I'm pretty sure that's the Marine Corps philosophy. They just keep these dudes rattled up, super pissed off. And as soon as you tell them, like, yeah, bro, like you're going to go comb through Fallujah and kill everything. They're like, fine. I will go do that.
Yeah, they have lobster. Sign me up.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Eric. It's been so great having you on here.
Oh, hold on, Dan. Hold on. Before we go,
Yeah.
we need to give him a chance to promote his stuff.
I was going to fucking ask him.
Well, you're over there muting, and I can hear your bong hits happening.
Okay. All right. Yes, I have been smoking during the interview, but no, it wasn't even out of a bong. You couldn't hear it. Shit. All right.
You need to edit those later
Okay.
clicks out.
We can ask him.
Oh man. Okay. Before we wrap this up, Eric, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you? We mentioned the YouTube channel a few times. Let's get that promo out there.
Yeah, so there's a YouTube channel at esInvests and then Twitter also at esInvests. And that's pretty much it, man.
Yeah. What do you do on the YouTube?
So it's mostly trading. I do some more zoomed out stuff, kind of more general finance topics, but the vast majority is going to be talking about trading, options trading specifically, but other stuff as well, like some futures trading, stuff like that. But the vast majority right now is very trading focused. The channel's not too large. There's like 8,500 subscribers. So
That's bigger than we.
Well, I'm
most of the people we talk to.
Well, I'm awful. So I don't know why, because I've always focused on putting out good information, but I don't edit videos, man. Like if I mess up, I just say, shit, sorry, I messed up. And then I correct what I said and keep it moving. I'm not good at video editing and all that stuff. I think I said that I'm not.
Oh, is that the secret?
Super
Putting out video, Dan, or just don't edit it?
I don't think that's a secret, because I'm pretty sure the channel would actually be growing pretty quick if I took it and did what I know I should be doing. But I think, honestly, the other thing is I just feel like there's so much out there that is so super polished and so neat, and everything has no cracks in it. It's like, bro, that's not real life.
Yeah.
It's literally not real life. So I kind of just try to keep it real over there. I talk about trading, portfolio management, analyzing the markets, the economy. I have a segment called Money Talks where I bring people like you onto my channel, and we talk about trading, man.
Awesome.
But
like we need to set something up.
Yeah, I would love to. I would absolutely love to keep working with you guys. You guys are awesome. But the only downside is on YouTube, I do record video, and like right now I'm still sitting here shirtless, loving that. Yeah. But I would have to put maybe I could just put like pasties on instead of a shirt.
All I'm wearing is a sock right now, just so you know.
Yep.
Mr. Richie over there with his sock.
It's a knee high.
I'm surprised they're not fishnets from the Navy, but
there it is. There it is, Dan. That's what we end on.
Thank you guys so much for having me. It's super fun to actually talk to like just real people in the space. It's not too common to find that, and it's refreshing. So thank you guys for doing what you're doing, and I definitely am very thankful to have connected with y'all.
Well, we're glad we hooked up with you. We're looking forward to hearing when the episode with Anthony drops too.
Yeah, as soon as I find out, I'll let you guys know. I think I'll find you guys on Twitter, and then we'll.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. Well, thank you again, Erik. Had a really great time. It was just wonderful having you in the shop. And folks, thank you for sticking around to the end. Hope you had a great time too. Check Erik out there on YouTube and Twitter and wherever, all the other places he said while I was definitely paying attention. And and we'll be coming back at you again soon. But until then, we got to go and kick you out. So happy trades.
Bye, everybody.
See y'all.
Two Bulls in a China Shop is an entertainment program, and all thoughts and opinions expressed in the show belong to the hosts and not of any company. They are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or on any specific security or investment product. It is only intended to provide entertainment about stocks and the financial industry of trading. If you make trades based on what you hear in this show, you assume all risks for those trades.